Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Stacy Stilling. I'm the CAO for Mountain View Seniors Housing. I'm incredibly pleased to welcome you all here today on this, what's now a bright, sunshiny day. Not only to the beautiful community of Sundre, but to our Sundre Supportive Living facility just behind me. Today, we're very excited to be part of an important announcement from the Government of Alberta in support of affordable housing. At this time, I would like to introduce Alberta's Minister of Seniors, Community and Social Services, Jason Nixon.
Well, thank you, Stacy, for that introduction. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to the crown jewel of the Cowboy Trail, the great town of Sundre. Specifically, I'd like to welcome you all to the Sundre Supportive Living Facility for today's important announcement. First of all, I'm pleased to be joined by several guests today. Stacy Stilling from Mountain View Seniors Housing, who you just met. Arlene Adamson from Alberta Senior Citizens Housing Association, who you'll hear from in a minute. And Lizzie Munn from Savita Housing, who you also will hear from in a minute. Thank you all for being here today. I'd also like to thank all the staff from Sundre's Senior Supportive Living for joining us today, and thank you for all the work you do, providing safe, stable, and affordable housing for seniors here in my hometown. Alberta's government is committed to making sure Albertans have access to secure, affordable housing options that make sense for them. The rising cost of living that we are seeing across the country is increasing demand for these affordable housing options. And Alberta is taking real action to address these needs, with significant investment into housing across the province. In the next 3 years, Alberta will spend over $1 billion on affordable housing through measures like capital grants, supports for housing providers, and rental assistance. And over the coming decade, we are implementing a housing strategy that will increase affordable housing units by 40% across our province. To support these objectives, I am pleased today to announce the opening of the second intake of applications for the Affordable Housing Partnership Program in Alberta. This funding round of the Affordable Housing Partnership Program will make $68 million available to support new affordable housing projects across Alberta. Projects eligible for this funding include specialized housing, mixed income development to support households of different income levels, and mixed-use developments offering a range of services in addition to housing. This program will support the construction of new housing, the renovation of existing properties, and the creation of new innovative housing solutions. This flexibility has enabled the Affordable Housing Partnership Program to see tremendous success since it launched last year. Earlier this year, Alberta announced nearly $125 million from the Affordable Housing Partnership Program for 30 projects across the province, including $15.2 million for the City of Calgary's Bridgeland Place renovation to better serve families in Calgary, $14.9 million to build 72 new housing units at the Savita Lendrum redevelopment in South Edmonton, and $14.7 million to Meridian Housing to build new senior lodge units in Spruce Grove. These are just a few examples of affordable housing being developed province-wide through the Affordable Housing Partnership Program. The first round of funding is enabling affordable housing to open and to support Albertans sooner. Last week, for example, I was in Cold Lake to break ground on the new Stepping Stones crisis building that will provide affordable housing units for women fleeing violence. This project received $2 million from the last round of funding and is already underway. The projects that the Housing Partnership Program is supporting represent a major investment in our communities to help meet the housing needs of thousands of individuals, seniors and families, no matter if they live in the city or in a small town like Sundre. Housing is a complex issue that requires diverse solutions, and the Alberta Housing Partnership Program harnesses the local expertise of housing providers, community organizations, nonprofits, and municipalities so we can create solutions that work best for the community. Through long-term collaboration with these organizations and communities, we can deliver new, innovative, and sustainable housing solutions across Alberta. Through this partnership, we will provide stable housing to give people the chance to secure employment, support their families, and contribute to their communities. There is no one-size-fits-all solution, but by working together, we can find the right solution to meet people and communities' unique needs. Together, we're helping to give people a place to build their lives, a place to raise their families, and most importantly, a place to call home. Thank you very much again for being here today.
Thank you very much, Minister Nixon. And to all of those on your team and in government who are working hard behind the scenes to continue to move forward with support for affordable housing. This program and announcement of additional funding of $68 million under the new Stronger Foundation strategy will provide needed opportunities for all of us to work together in partnerships to do the best we can to ensure more people have access to an affordable place to call home. I think I speak on behalf of Mountain View Seniors Housing and many of my industry colleagues when I say that the need for affordable housing continues to be high. We thank you for focusing on the people, for focusing on Albertans. The creation of more affordable housing leads to increased dignity, well-being, security, and furthers positive connection and community for those we serve. And we're truly grateful for the support. I would now like to introduce and ask to come forward CEO of Silvera and President of Asha, Arlene Adamson, to say a few words, please.
Thank you very much. I am so honored to be here to represent the members of Alberta Seniors and Community Housing, Asha. We have members across our great province, and we treasure the relationship that we have with Minister Nixon and his strong leadership of his team to be able to advance the agenda for all Albertans to have housing. And we're here in a beautiful community that just is an echo of all the needs across our province where we need affordable housing, and we're grateful for this government's commitment to that effort to advance and ensure that Albertans have a place to call home. Alberta Seniors and Community Housing, Asha, is a member-driven organization representing housing providers who work towards two vital objectives. First, to support Albertans as they age, and supporting Albertans with affordability. These are important goals, and we need to achieve those by delivering on housing and the support services that we deliver to 60,000 Albertans. Our members represent a full spectrum of not-for-profit, private, and public housing. All are committed to the noble cause that we have for Albertans, where Albertans need to live and they deserve to have a home that honors their dignity, serves their needs, and inspires purpose in the communities that they call home. Alberta is an incredible place to live and work, and we see that here in this community of Sundre. On a foundation of access for housing for Albertans, that's the core of what Albertans need to live and thrive in their communities. This has made Alberta a great draw. In the first quarter of 2023, Alberta had the highest net interprovincial migration. It's a province that's thriving and growing. Alberta is second behind Ontario in the net total migration, both interprovincial and international, adding over 51,000 new residents during the first quarter of this year alone. We know inflation has decreased the buying power of Albertans, challenging all households, but particularly difficult for low-income households. We need to build more housing to meet the needs of current and future Albertans. This second round of affordable housing support through the Affordable Housing Partnership Program is crucial to building more affordable housing in every corner of our province. On behalf of Asha and our members, we thank the Government of Alberta, the leadership of Minister Nixon, the talent and skill and commitment of his team to advance this agenda with us, recognizing the importance of a need for affordable housing and the investments that are critical across our province. Thank you very much, Minister Nixon. Thank you for the opportunity to be here, and we look forward to working with our government partners, both now and into the future, to build and create great homes for Albertans. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Arlene. I'd now like to introduce and ask to come forward VP Property Portfolio Management for Savita, Lindsay Munn. Lindsay.
Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to be here this morning. My name is Lindsay Munn, and I have the honor of being the VP of Property Portfolio Management with Savita, a provider of community and affordable housing in Edmonton. It is my pleasure to be alongside the Honourable Jason Nixon, housing colleague Arlene, and thank you for hosting us, Stacey. Today's announcement about the reopening of the Alberta Affordable Housing Partnership Program funding intake is fantastic news for the province and those seeking affordable places to live. Affordable housing is a critical pillar in fostering inclusive communities and ensuring that everyone has a place to call home. In the last year, Savita was grateful to receive $14.9 million through the Affordable Housing Partnership Program. This outstanding investment enabled us to build an affordable complex in South Central Edmonton. On the Lensham site, which previously held a 48-unit building that had reached the end of its lifespan, we are currently completing construction of a 120-unit complex that is a mix of townhouses and apartment-style living. With the completion of this project this fall, Lensham will be home to over 300 children and families. By the end of this week, 45 families will be moving into the first phase of this building complex. We are excited to welcome these families home. Because of the funding we received from the Government of Alberta for the Lensham project, more units will be available at affordable rental rates. We are able to offer all of the 120 units at Lensham at either 60 or 80% of market rental rates. These reduced rental rates will have a meaningful financial impact on those families and individuals. At Savita, we know that many in our community face significant challenges in securing suitable housing due to rising costs and limited availability. The lack of affordable housing disproportionately impacts low-income families, seniors, and other vulnerable populations. The announcement today means that more families can focus on contributing to their communities, to their schools, and in their workplaces. This initiative holds immense potential to transform lives and create a positive ripple effect in our community. This innovative housing investment allows organizations like Savita to make meaningful impacts on the affordable housing landscape in Alberta and best support those who we are here to serve. The reopening of the Alberta Affordable Housing Partnership Program is key to creating sustainable housing infrastructure that benefits everyone. Minister Nixon, Savita thanks you and your colleagues for the significant investment in helping those in need of safe and affordable housing. We are very excited about the opportunities that new investments through this program will bring for all Albertans. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. That brings us to the end of the formal part of today's announcement. We'll now move over to media questions and answers. We'll start with questions on the floor and move on to the phone lines. If you're on the phone, if you have a question, please join the queue so that we can take your questions after the question from the floor. First question.
Thank you. Dan Singleton, Albertan. Carstairs has been asking for a new lodge, seniors lodge, for some years now. Is this going to have any impact on them?
Whether this announcement specifically will end up having impact on the Carstairs Lodge question will be determined based on whether or not Carstairs and Mountview Seniors Housing apply through this program potentially to use this funding towards that goal. I met just about 2 weeks ago with Mountview Seniors Housing where we discussed the Carstairs project amongst other issues that Mountview Seniors Housing is facing. And I look forward to seeing whether or not they think this is the appropriate direction to go for the projects that they're working on, or if other avenues of funding that we have, Dan, are more appropriate. We'll have those conversations with them. This is a piece of an overall strategy when it comes to tackling the affordable housing crisis that we see across the country, not just in Alberta. And we're moving towards an investment, as I said in my comments, of $1 billion over the next 3 years inside more affordable housing units with the goal, the objective of increasing our affordable housing unit portfolio by 40% by 2031. And so while this will not be all of that objective, it is a step as we move towards that overall objective.
Okay. I wonder if Stacey has a comment on that, if you're planning to apply for the funding for the Carstairs Lodge.
Do you want to answer that today, Stacey?
Okay.
All right. She said no.
She said no. Thank you. That's all I have for you.
All right, Dan.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. We'll now move over to the phone lines. Operator, can you put in the first caller, please?
Chris Barco, Calgary Herald. Hi, Minister. The Alberta population last year grew by about 160,000 people, and we've seen another 57,000 increase in the first quarter, mainly due to interprovincial migration and immigration. And I'm just wondering, do you think that we're heading for a housing crisis in this province right now? Do you think we're in one?
Well, I mean, the term, Chris, crisis can mean so many different things to so many people. There's no doubt we're short housing, and that is a challenge that the province has acknowledged for a while now, and the Premier has been clear is something that we need to tackle in the coming years. I think what has changed, Chris, is this conversation has expanded in recent times beyond just traditional affordable housing that you would see traditionally announced by my department, homeless shelters, senior centers, low-income areas, to a full, broad market conversation, which is why we're moving forward with our Stronger Foundations plan, which will increase affordable housing across the province by 40%. To translate that into numbers for you, Chris, that's an additional 25,000 households by 2031, which would increase our total affordable housing portfolio to about 82,000 households. I am very confident that the Stronger Foundations plan that we're working on is the right plan for the province long term. What I'm not confident on is whether or not that needs to be expanded to deal with more broader market issues in housing across the province, particularly in Calgary, as we continue to see our economy surge and more people move to our province. And I think it'd be fair to say that you can expect from me in the short term some more work that will take place on that, including bringing in Albertans from across the province to have a long-term conversation whether we need to expand the housing strategy beyond just affordable housing, but also into some of the market questions that we face, particularly in our largest cities.
Do you have a follow-up for the Minister, Chris?
Yes, I do. You talked about the fact that you're going to need to have a multi-pronged strategy to address this challenge. What do you need to see moving forward from the federal government and from municipalities to address the housing crunch? And what is the province prepared to do to work with them on those two fronts?
Well, I'll start with the federal government. The federal government needs to come to the table in a big way. They need to treat the province of Alberta equally with our fellow provinces across the country. We see too many times, as you know, Chris, where Alberta is not treated fairly within Confederation. And sadly, on CMHC funding, we're seeing the exact same thing. Recently, the accelerator fund from CMHC that just announced their round of funding ended up with Alberta receiving just shy of 3% of that total funding, while we make up 12% of the entire country. And so we are going to be calling on the federal government to, at the very least, make sure that they fund through CMHC at per capita, and make sure that our province receives our fair share of CMHC funding when it comes to investments inside housing. I've met with the Mayor of Calgary and the Mayor of Edmonton in the last few weeks, and together we will be responding united with the municipalities and the province with a united message to the federal government in the coming days on what we expect. But no longer can it be acceptable to give Alberta 3% of the funding that we pay into when we have 12% of the population. On municipalities, we are seeing a variety of conditions across different municipal governments where there can be hindrance from bylaws or different regulations that are taking place into the development of housing. And you probably saw in the Minister of Affordability's mandate letter that mine's not out yet, so you have to stay tuned for the rest of that. But in that letter, it makes clear that we'll be coming forward with a strategy led by my department in partnership with him, what changes need to take place to be able to make sure that we can get housing built in a timely fashion, still safely, but in a timely fashion, and what red tape municipalities may have in the way. So you can expect to hear more about that, particularly after my mandate letter comes out. I will say, Chris, it's different from different municipalities, and that's why we want to take a real community-based approach to understand what the unique holdups will be, but expect more from that in the near-term future.
Operator, can you put through the next caller, please?
Stephanie Costigan, Lethbridge News. Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
My question, hopefully you can hear me okay.
We can.
My question for you guys is, I guess, how will this impact some of the cities in Alberta, particularly, like, I know in Lethbridge we're facing a lot of elderly people living out of their cars because they're not able to get into housing or afford it.
Well, one of the reasons why I chose to announce this in Sundre today was to illustrate that the challenges that we face around housing are across the province. While there will be unique needs in our large cities versus our smaller cities, we all have similar needs when it comes to the overall issue. I was just in Lethbridge last week where we announced some funding for new seniors facilities down inside the community of Sundre, as well as toured some of the work that we're doing with the shelter, the homeless shelter, in partnership with the Blood inside that community. This funding can be used for projects just like that all across the province. Specifically, what we see come from Lethbridge in this funding round will be based on what the local providers apply for. But Lethbridge is going to continue to be amongst our highest priorities because of the unique situation that you're facing down inside that community. I will say that one of the highest priorities for the community of Lethbridge will continue to be our partnership with the running of the homeless shelter in Lethbridge in partnership with the Blood. As you know, the homeless community in Lethbridge and the challenges that you guys are facing around addictions within that community, that community is about 95%, I believe, the Blood, which is why we partnered with that nation to be able to provide a homeless shelter in that community. And I know my colleague, Minister Williams, has been down there just recently as well, solidifying the new treatment center that will be built on reserve that I hope will help with some of the challenges that are facing that community. But I will just reiterate, one of the reasons why we're in Sundre is to emphasize that this is not just a Calgary and Edmonton issue, and that our government is focused on making sure that we can meet those challenges for all our communities, no matter their size.
Do you have a follow-up, Stephanie?
Thank you. No, that's all. Thanks so much.
Operator, can you put through the last caller, please?
There are no other questions on the phone at this time.
All right, thank you, everyone. That's all the time we have. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great day.